Hey guys, it's Ivan here from RuneScape. I took a break over the weekend, hence the delay for the weekly video, and to make up for that I wanted to come up with something different this time, and I hope you'll like it. As you may know, merchanting is something I really enjoy, and it's pretty much the only reason why I've been on RS still for the past 6 years. It's a really great way to learn about a lot of things that can be applied elsewhere, and one of these examples is Bitcoin. I think most people are now aware of Bitcoin's existence, but there are a lot of misconceptions about it because of the media. I'll link to a blog post on Medium here that clears them up. Just a little FYI, Medium is a very clean and simplistic blogging platform created by Ev Williams, the founder of Twitter. Who knows, you might like it. Some pretty cool posts in there in my opinion, and the one I'm linking to is about a 7-minute read, which should teach you the basics of what exactly Bitcoin is and where the media get it wrong and misinform you. I'm not going to focus on these things in this video. As the title suggests, I simply want to give you a comparison, showing you the similarities between RS and Bitcoin merchanting in this part, and how they are different in the next part. I'd like to start off by saying that if you do get to the point where you want to get into Bitcoin, make sure you do proper research first. You really need to understand what it is, how it works, what has happened thus far, and what the future possibilities are, of course. Just like in RuneScape, don't invest in an item unless you understand why it is priced the way it is and how it has evolved over time. So how are RS and Bitcoin merchanting the same? They are the same in the sense of the different types of merchanting. You can flip on RS, you can flip Bitcoin. You can invest in both, short-term, long-term, and most importantly, update investing. On RS this means new updates to the game that make specific items more in demand. For Bitcoin it means technological breakthroughs, large companies beginning to accept Bitcoin, and so on. For update investing on RS, you need to do your research properly, and the same goes for Bitcoin. A good way to do this is by following the Bitcoin Reddit. I'll put a link to that in the description. It is quite big and it always has the latest discussions and news on it. Keep in mind that these are just people too, so always use your brain to determine what you can and can't trust. The voting system does help a lot to filter out the garbage, and it is generally a much better source of news than any news website out there, since those tend to focus on the sensational aspect and the clickbait links and the banners with physical bitcoins in it and stuff like that. Anyways, as for the merchanting types, even things like street trading, hoarding, and sniping are all possible with Bitcoin. Street trading would be in the form of going to different platforms to sell people bitcoins at a higher price. If you're good at this and know when and where to go, you can make some nice money with it. Hoarding would require you to have millions, so I don't think that's an option for most people watching this video. And sniping can be done at times when there is a quick short crash, which happens during volatile periods. Another similarity is that the merchanting is mostly done through an exchange. Now on RS this is of course the Grand Exchange. For Bitcoin there are many exchanges, and just a few of the examples can be found here on the sheet. Now Snow wrote a good post about them on cfbtc.com, the website for his Bitcoin fund. I'll give you a link in the description to that as well. What exchange you merchant on is of course very important, since you need to be able to trust them. You all may have heard of Mt. Gox, which was the first and formerly biggest exchange. They recently closed down, with a lot of customers losing money in Bitcoins. You have to keep in mind that there are always some risks when using an exchange. The idea of Bitcoin is that it is decentralized, meaning nobody is in charge, while exchanges centralize it again. This is why your research for exchanges is so important, because before you get in on anything, you really have to understand what exactly they do, how they are backed, etc. Mt. Gox already had several shady things happen in the past, which should have been sort of a red flag to a bunch of people. Now, since both RS and Bitcoin have exchanges, they also both have graphs. Now, despite that, I'd almost put this topic in a video about differences, because the RS graphs are an absolute nightmare. I'm glad that there are RS-related websites that provide better ones. We are, of course, one of these. Bitcoin doesn't have this problem. There are plenty of fantastic graphs out there, and the best example I've seen so far is Bitcoinwisdom.com. Link in the description once again. Excellent graphing system for lots of exchanges and a lot of additional information on his website. I really like it a lot. Now next up, storage of your wealth. On RS you can safely store your items in your bank behind a pin with your account protected through JAG. On Bitcoin exchanges you can protect yourself with two-factor authentication, and you can also keep your Bitcoin away from them if you don't trust them. So on something like a hard drive with a backup, or you can even print out a QR code with the address on it. Now these methods are called cold storage to ensure you cannot get hacked or in trouble with a third-party website. If you don't plan to flip and short-term invest, but you just want to hold your Bitcoin for the long term, then cold storage is the way to go. Just like you should keep your long-term investments in your bank and not in your inventory, because there is a small risk of dying and losing them. Now, if I had to compare Bitcoins to items in RuneScape, the best comparison would be to discontinued items. The reason for this is the fact that there will be 21 million Bitcoins in existence and no more, just like there is a limited supply of discontinued items and there will never be more of these. Another reason for this comparison is the fact that just like discontinued items, Bitcoins are sentiment driven. Their fluctuations are based on the sentiment about the market, about other markets like gold, currencies and stocks, and about new technological breakthroughs, new companies accepting it as a form of payment, and so on. If you're good at understanding the sentiment about discontinued items on RS, which is caused by many factors, then chances are you may pick up well in Bitcoin too. And as a last point, both have haters and non-believers, which is of course no surprise. In RS you often get people hating on merchanting, saying it ruins the game and whatnot. The haters or manipulators for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general are mostly the uninformed people, those who are scared to lose their position of power, or the people that missed out on the first big rise. Just like on RS, don't mind the haters too much. That's it for the similarities. In the next part I will be talking about the differences between the two. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like or a comment. You can ask me any questions about Bitcoin in the comments and I'll be responding to everyone as usual. Take care guys.